Greetings and welcome. We are live. Welcome to the Moringa Growers Co-op in St. Petersburg, Florida, where we grow moringa trees. Big mama moringa trees. I'm actually at a doctor's office in St. Petersburg right now, standing next to some beautiful moringa trees that have been here for at least 10 years. I talked to the doctor and the secretary. They honestly didn't even know that these trees were here. These were planted before the current doctor. And so they've been caring for them here, just taking care of them, making sure that they're healthy and safe for us. But guess what they have? Lots of drumsticks. Lots and lots of drumsticks. So let's turn this around so you guys can see. Wow. Wow. Look at all the drumsticks. Got little drumsticks. Just now coming out, but then way up top, there's hundreds, if not thousands, of already browned and dried moringa drumsticks. Look, there's another one. And there's just tons of drumsticks. St. Petersburg, Florida is the ideal place to grow moringa trees. If you live in St. Pete, please hit me up so we can grow some moringa trees together. These trees are now going to be harvested for the drumsticks, and we're going to make some moringa seed oil out of them. So really appreciate you for coming by. We'll just keep you in touch on these lovely moringa trees in St. Pete at a doctor's office. And we'll come out with a YouTube video. You can visit our YouTube channel, Moringa Growers Co-op. Also Numa Nursery. My name is Kendrick Henry. Really appreciate you for stopping by, everybody. Thanks so much. Much love. Peace and prosperous growing. Greetings. Welcome. Thanks so much for joining us. We are now climbing inside of the moringa tree, assessing the height and what we want to necessarily keep. We're gauging our cuts based on the height and the forks that are currently the major forks of the tree. We want to create a much bushier tree within a year from now, so that way it has even more seed pods. And so we're going to start cutting this back at a height of about 10 feet. So like right now we're in the tree and I'm using a handsaw. I'm cutting the bottom part of the branch first and then slicing the top part, so that way I'm making like a score all the way around the branches, and they're very easily cut. It's a softwood. Moringa is a soft-wooded tree, and so we're wanting to keep many forks, and we're very careful and strategic in where we cut. We've been harvesting moringa trees now just like this for about 7 years, getting inside, harvesting the seed pods, and we're making sure the cuts are nice and clean. We want this tree to be fairly tall. We don't want to cut it all the way back down to the ground. There aren't any cases of freezes, potential freezes in the next few months. Hopefully we can get through February. At this time it was January 24th, 2020. And we're just getting the tree trimmed back. It hasn't been trimmed back very often, and so the wood is very brittle. And what we'll do is we'll clean it up a little bit further. We like it in this shape. Thanks so much. And then what we'll do is we'll show you the drops, the cuts, the drumsticks, and reaping the benefits of our harvest. Now we have the second tree just right next to the first tree, and this is at a doctor's office. So we've been driving by this doctor's office for several years, maybe 3-4 years, and every year these trees they'll flush out, they'll get full of greens, and then they'll look like this with very little greens, tons of seed pods. We did notice that inside the seed pods, the ones that were left on the tree were rotten and eaten by bugs. And one of the ways that you can help keep your tree free of pests, because it does produce a lot of material, a lot of drumsticks, a lot of vegetables, the drumsticks and the leaves producing very fast, so much that it's best to just get it trimmed back every few years. It may help prolong the life of the tree. These are short living trees. This is about as big as the tree will get, the size of a crepe myrtle, a little bit larger than a crepe myrtle. And these are the African variety of Moringa, Moringa oleifera, that were developed in India. There are Moringa trees in Africa. And I also wanted to get up as high as I could in this tree. It's a big mama Moringa tree. She's got tons of drumsticks on her. And you can see that she has been cut before in the past. The branch off to the right that's drooping down low is lower than someone's head. And so we're wanting people to inhabit the space and approach the Moringa tree, and so we're going to cut all the lower hanging branches and all the branches that are facing downwards, and we're just going to keep the ones that are going up, and so that way those up ones will split. And every time you make a cut, it splits at that point, so wherever you cut it, it will split. And you can train your trees to grow bushy short, or you can climb up on them or use a ladder to get into the trees and keep them a little bit taller. I like them a little bit taller, about 10 feet at the cut, and so that way they split out from there, and that way I can actually get into these trees like this. I really enjoy getting in there, cutting them back, and using these greens as food and the drumsticks as food. And so I've been training with arborists around, learning where to cut, how to cut, the angles, using the handsaw, and just practicing patience with the trees as they grow, letting them have their cycles, their entire cycles, maybe a year, sometimes 2 years before harvesting the tree. This tree hadn't been cut back in several years, and so in my opinion I felt like it was due for a harvest. That way it flushes out even more. While I was actually harvesting this tree, I realized just how regenerative the wood is. The Moringa wood is so fast growing, regenerative, that's what it's doing to us in our bodies. So thank you so much for watching and joining us and learning how to cut back a Moringa tree. There's different ways to prune trees. This is just one of the techniques that we're utilizing right now at this moment. I'm learning more all the time. If you have any more suggestions, please give me a call. My number's on the website, and we'll talk more. Thanks. Now you can see, oh my gosh, all the harvest, beautiful, tons of drumsticks, tons of wood that we're going to make into new trees, seed pods. Peace. Greetings everybody, we just got back to Numa Farms and we are now sorting out the greens from the sticks. We already sorted out all the drumsticks, pretty much for the most part. There are a few in here still. So we'll set these aside now. We just got back to the farm. And what I want to do is, before we wash the greens, I'm going to strip them off the sticks, get all the drumsticks off. And this is the most tedious process of harvesting. It just takes time to get the sticks broken down. and stripped. Now this time of year, it's winter time, and these trees in particular hadn't been harvested ever. And so you can see the sticks, growth is very small, you know, per season, per node. You know, like when it first started off, maybe this was a few years ago, and it's just slowly, and you can see, hey, what's up, Stewie? OJ the Juice, what up? So these still have drumsticks, and what I'm saying is normally these sticks will grow much faster when they're cut more regularly. Now you can leave a moringa tree without cutting it back ever. You don't ever have to cut a moringa tree back. But we noticed that because this tree hadn't been cut back, a lot of the sticks were really brittle and rotting, and some of the drumsticks that were on there from even last year were still there, and they had some bugs in them. And so what happens is if you don't harvest the moringa trees, potentially you may lose more drumsticks and greens to just natural elements. And so we're here all working together, helping each other to supply food, fresh food, super fresh. We're going to separate these, and then once we separate them, we'll show you how we wash them and get them safely on the racks to dry. Super fast. Oh yeah. Luckily too, this is a softwood, and it's really easy to work with. It's one of the reasons why I've turned on so much by Moringa, is because it is such easy plant to break, to turn into compost. It's very versatile. If it was just a little harder to break, man, it would be just such a pain, but luckily it's really soft. I think nature and man have been working together to develop the moringa tree. Look at these drumsticks. For thousands and thousands of years together. It's one of the reasons why it's so nutritious and also so versatile in growing around the world, providing fresh greens and food. So I had a store in St. Petersburg for about 1.5 years, and we're actually trying to get back to St. Pete right now, at least just maybe a small apartment or a rental property that I can travel back and forth from the farm here in Plant City to St. Petersburg on a regular basis, because every week I do go to the farmers markets out in Pinellas County. And I also love the beach. So I'm looking forward to possibly in the next few months get a little bit more stable now that we're here and we can do a lot more business, and get out to St. Pete more. But what I was saying is that I had a store on 38th for about 1.5 years, 38th North and Tyrone. And I would drive past like 5th Avenue and many other places around town, and happened to notice these trees in the side yard of a doctor's office. And just kept seeing them over this past summer. They were huge. These trees were full of greens. I mean, they were massive. You saw the trees earlier, and they were really thinned out from the time that I got to them by this time this year. But by this past summer, when I was there just driving by, I happened to notice just how big they were. And all these pods were on them. See this? This could have potentially been damaged. I remember this part of the tree was lower, and it's pretty much rotten. So it could just be damaged from frost maybe 1 year ago, 2 years ago, or something. And it just never really grew back, and it just was sitting on the tree rotting, asking to be eaten by pests and bugs, and just as a host for animals. It's one of the reasons why we keep good maintenance of the trees. So we're going to turn these into trees too. We're going to plant these on the property here. We're building a line. We're building out a line right now on the property. Just moringa trees. Just to get us started, get our farm started. Moringa's going to be our pioneer plant here on the farm. It's going to be our first farmed profitable crop here that we have on the property. And so I'm driving by these trees every day in St. Pete like, man, I love you. I really want to, harvest and use the greens. I wonder if they use them. I wonder. And let me see here so I'm not running out of time. Okay. And I wondered, and so I didn't waste any more time in wondering. I just walked right in there a couple weeks ago, and I said, hey, I'm Kendrick, and I started a co-op here in the neighborhood, and we grow moringa trees, wondering if you know about your trees that you have in the back. And the secretary said, no, this is a fairly new office here, and maybe they were planted before we got here, but as far as she knows, she had no idea about these moringa trees. 2 huge moringa trees that you just saw in the backyard. And so I said, see, that was a brittle dead one. It's just sitting on the tree. They're just soft. And so I walked in with the starter kit, actually. And I said, well, if you could give this to the doctor, and have them call me and see if I could potentially use the moringa for my products. Sure enough, later that afternoon, I got back to the farm here, and this was probably already like 3 months ago, 2-3 months ago. And the secretary called, and she said, hey, the doctor would love to donate the greens to your cause, and the drumsticks, please come by anytime you'd like and harvest the moringa trees. Thank you. And when you're in alignment, nature just takes care of you. So we're just getting taken care of right now, during this winter season, at least getting a little bit of greens stocked up. I mean, we do have a lot of stock right now. We have lots of sales from our greens that we harvested from October to December now, are packaged, vacuum sealed, dried, and ready for you to pick up and order. We have wholesale available if you'd like to get bulk. And we are really, really pleased with these greens and grateful. Really just so grateful for these greens and what they've been providing us with, especially now the drumsticks. Oh my gosh, we've been going through some oil. Uncle Bob, he's been pressing oil several hours out of the week. Well, luckily we have a machine now and it's all automatic. Built a automatic seed hopper to press the seed oil. We have another video about how we press the moringa seeds to make oil right here on the farm. And we're excited, man. Look at these sticks, and it's been dormant season. As much as we've been, very, very busy posting videos and making these videos and coming out with new content, it's exciting to see the excitement that people have for moringa. And for those that don't know yet, please subscribe to the Numa Nursery YouTube channel and follow us on Instagram at Numa_nursery. I'm Kendrick Henry. I'm also on LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn. But you can call me. Best way is just to call me. And my number is on the website, numanursery.com. You can reach me right now, no problems. I'm always by the phone, just taking orders and talking to people, answering questions about Moringa. And thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate you for coming out and seeing how we're processing the Moringa greens from trees to greens to powder to capsules to oil to spice. We're just really excited to be here. I'm grateful for the opportunity. I love it here. 2.5 acres in Plant City. So thank you so much for joining us. Peace and prosperous growing.